When we talk about the technical infrastructure for a EHR application, many times we have a tendency to focus on the most expensive components of the infrastructure. The big iron that goes in the data center. The servers, the storage, the network infrastructure that goes into the back end of our enterprise-wide EHR application. But what we have found is that the clinical side, the client side, I should say, is just as complex, if not more so, than the back-end infrastructure. And the client side has a profound impact on user acceptance, efficiencies, workflow. And we all know that it's about the clinical workflow. That's what we're trying to support. And the technology can either get in the way of that workflow process or can be a facilitator for high productivity for clinicians. And obviously, we want our clinicians to be more productive, to have less interruptions, and to not have any technical impediments towards the adoption of this EHR. How do we address that? It's a complex problem. OST knows how to solve it. How do we do that? Let's take a physician. And a physician is in his office and has a desktop or laptop PC. And on that desktop or laptop PC, there's a series of applications that are loaded. Let's say they're running the Epic Hyperspace client. They have a document management system in place. So they're using OnBase in this case. Maybe they have a PACS viewer, a lightweight PACS viewer, obviously for radiology or cardiology images. And they also have productivity applications because they occasionally need to write Word documents and spreadsheets and so on, and so there's a set of productivity tools. They live in the 21st century, so email is a must. Perhaps a set of web-based applications, and some legacy or departmental applications that have to be supported. And this would be a fairly typical clinical desktop. One of our customers started off with 600 applications. They got down to 400 applications after they implemented Epic. Another customer, they're still supporting over 1,100 discrete applications after they've got Epic live. So Epic covers a wide spectrum of the use case, but there are still many, many applications that need to be supported in healthcare. And so we don't want to take a clinical workstation approach that is targeted and optimized for just one application, no matter how important that application is. We want to create a clinical workstation environment that can encompass all of the applications that are in use. And not just the ones that are in use today, but maybe some that might be in use in the future. Maybe we're running speech recognition from Dragon. Maybe we're doing video continuing education. And maybe we're using various types of biometric authentication. If you were at HIMSS this past year, you may have seen at the Imprivata booth, for example, a very cool technology that's based on facial recognition. Well, how do we tie that in? We want to make sure that our workstation strategy encompasses not just the probable in today, but the possible in the future. But it's not just about the workstation itself. It's about mobility. It's about having your clinical workstation environment follow you through the workflow process. An example, our physician, we'll call him Dr. Dave. Dr. Dave works on several different places. He works on 3rd floor north. He works on 3rd floor south. He works on 8th floor east. And he works on 8th floor south. He does rounds. He's a hospitalist, and those are the 4 wards that he's working in. And there are computers in each of these locations that he uses. Because of sanitary issues and personal preferences, he doesn't want to carry a laptop from place to place. And his IT department doesn't support iPads yet. So this is his technology world. So he's writing a report, he's sending an email, he gets paged to a situation on 3 North, and he then goes into Epic to support his workflow here. We have to be location aware, so it's tying in with the Epic records to know that on 3 North it is this patient context. Finishes the workflow, moves to a cubicle on 3 South where he can do some work, and he wants to pull up the email that he was working on back here in his office. That's the kind of enablement that we're talking about. The ability to pick up right where you left off in the application that you were using, no matter where you are in the hospital environment, or maybe even outside the hospital environment. Maybe this is his home office. And so he starts continuing the email. He's writing his email, doing his work. He gets paged to 8 East, goes down here, works in his Epic environment. And by the way, the login process when he goes from here to here is less than 8 seconds. Because fast login is enabled with ties into either the biometric authentication, token-based authentication, or some other mechanism for supporting fast login. What provides the enablement for this? What are some of the key attributes of a high-performance clinical workstation? Some of those key attributes would be that state information is maintained. So whether he's in his home office or in different departments in the hospital, the current state of his sessions are maintained without logging off and logging back in. So he can continue his workflows in a very natural process. It follows him in this case, but it doesn't follow him with idiocy. It follows him with a degree of intelligence, so that it knows that if I'm on 3 South and I go to the printer, I'm going to print to the printer in 3 South and not the default printer that happens to be back here in the home office. So there's location awareness for printing purposes, managed through the broker process. So the printing is a follow me printing. In addition, all applications are available everywhere. So the normal suite of applications that are in use, that we would call the clinical home page for this particular doctor, are available no matter where you are. So that you can use the dictation software, you can use your web-enabled applications, you can use your departmental applications without having to worry about those being loaded on your specific workstation. And how does this happen? Because back here in the data center, we're running the session in virtualized environments. So that when I'm here in my home office, I'm connecting to my session here. When I'm here on 3 North, I'm connecting to that session. When I'm here on 8 East, I'm connecting to that session. And in that virtualized environment, I'm maintaining all of this context for the physician. So all apps are available. They follow the user. They are location aware, so that printing or workflow context is appropriate. So if it's in an exam room, there's a different workflow context than there is in a nurse's station or a physician office. So it's location aware. It ties into the clinical applications in that way. And it allows for a fast login. We don't want to have to go through a full session log out, log in, restart, Windows boot, those kinds of things every time we want to access our applications. That's a drag on productivity and is an impediment to user acceptance of the application. So this fast login is really a key objective in our clinical workstation environment. See, just like the back-end data center is complex, the front-end client environment is also complex. It's a difficult problem, but we know how to solve it.